I believe we are live. Hello and welcome. This is Peter Palmiotti, and this is Studio Synergy 23. YouTube updated, and I tried to set up the whole Hangout a different way, but that didn't work out. I'm sure it does wonderful, amazing things, but we got the same old kind of Hangout here, but that's okay because we just talk and work. And we got a decent-sized crowd today, so I'll jump into introductions and we'll go from left to right on my screen. It's different for everybody, but we got Eric.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. We can see you now.
Yeah. Just time.
Hello, Eric.
Hey, how you doing?
Awake.
I am.
So, just do a brief description of who you are.
I am Eric Webb. I run Eric Webb Graphics, a commission-based character art, graphic design, and comic art business. And you can see my stuff at www.ericwebbgraphics.com.
Awesome. Thanks for coming. And for the very first time, we got Joseph.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Joseph Silver, comic artist, primarily inking. Worked with mainly Timothy Green, actually, at DC, and a couple of other companies. Kanan White at Avatar. I keep forgetting the name of the company. Most of my work is on DeviantArt and elsewhere, but I'm basically just trying to expand as much of my work as possible, working on trying to expand the stuff I do on YouTube, Patreon, and everything else. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Just an artist trying to get a bigger and better profile so that everyone knows who he is.
Awesome. Great to have you here, man.
Thank you.
And we have Kevin.
Hey, what's up? I'm Kevin. I make comics, and I work as an illustrator, cartoonist, for fun and profit, but trying to concentrate, although I'm working on client work at the moment, trying to concentrate on my own comics and things like that so I can escape freelance illustration. Fucking hate it. Can I cuss on this show? I just did.
Sure.
Yeah, so
I guess so now.
My portfolio is sorely outdated, so why don't you just go to youtube.com/KevinCrossArt or monkeymod.com.
And you said this was your first time at Studio Synergy?
Yep.
Well, welcome, sir.
Thanks. I mean, it's kind of weird because, you know, we've known each other for a super long time now at this point, but...
Yeah. I've only done 22 of these previously.
Yeah.
And we have Scott Circlin. Hey, Scott.
Hey, everyone. Yeah, I'm Scott Circlin. I work on a comic called Young and the Dead, and I'm working on the third issue, and I'll switch over to my screen in a bit, but I'm working on the boring part, which is just flatting. So there's that, and my company's Circworks, SERKWORKS. You can find me at circworks.com. And actually, I did just update my portfolio, but it's mostly like game design and stuff. There's not a real lot of comic book stuff up there, so. But you can check that out anyway.
Awesome. Welcome, Scott. And we have Wilson.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Wilson Ramos. I've been here before, but as you know, I don't have a camera, so I'm screen sharing what I'll be working on tonight while we're talking. I am a freelance artist. I do a little bit of everything, penciling, inking, coloring, really whatever needed. I mostly do lettering and coloring these days, as well as a ton of Star Wars sketch cards, and working on a project called William Shatner's Man of War. I'm the art director on that, as well as an artist. So basically freelance comics is mainly what I do. And I do publish my own book called Team Kaiju, and I run a website called the8spot.com where we also have digital comics, a bunch of other stuff, webcast and what have you. So, jack of all trades, master of none.
Much like
Welcome.
the rest of us, I suspect.
Yeah, very much. Well, I got, let's see, is my camera, my camera's still fooling around, and it's not really the best view. But I'm working on another page of End of Days. I'll hold it up a little bit, and it will refocus. If you notice, it's blue line. This is printed out in blue. So I get a digital file from the penciler, who is Barry McLean. And man, I'm traditional, I'm old school. I resisted this for years, well, decades. But I'm finally jumping in, and I'm going to be making a lot of things over blue line. And one thing I like about it is I don't have to freaking erase. Because I always erase the page and then have to go over to blacks again to sharpen them up, and time consuming. But so yeah, there's some benefits to it. But I had to buy some paper. I had to inform my local comic place. Not comic place. My copy center. How to do this. I worked with 3 different people and finally got it done, and I got a stack of work. Actually, in 4 different projects right now. Dying to get back to my creator-owned stuff.
I hear that.
I have a ton planned, but so I might start jumping into it next week. But the following week, sure. I want to do stuff with D100s. I want to get back on my comic Bobby B-Boy, which was a Inktober project that went horribly awry. And back to my webcomics. So lots to get to. And my podcast as well. So I'm just like swamped now. But I'll make it all work.
So you don't have
So that's me.
So you don't have an oversized printer or anything. You're actually going to a copier place to get everything printed out.
Yeah. I posted on my Facebook wall recently a brother. I forget what model it was, but it's a printer scanner for 11 by 17. I don't currently have one. I have a small, like 8.5 by 11 printer scanner. I don't use it as a printer. In fact, all the lights usually blink. I don't really care. I use it for scanning smaller stuff. But everything else I do at the copy center. But it's just not, in a business sense, it's, I got to have it in-house because they're closed on the weekends, and I'm always rushing to get there before they close during the week, and it's not really productive. So
Yeah, here, Peter. Here's that. That's the printer right there you're talking about. If anyone's interested.
there you go. Did you get that new?
I did, but it's old. I got it when it was new. Now it's like, I don't know. I've had it for, probably 4 or 5 years now, I think.
Right.
But yeah, it's great for scanning. But it just, like I was saying on the Facebook post, it just seems like it eats up ink like crazy, even when I don't even use it that much. But
somebody posted right after you about using like a cheaper no brand.
I tried that, and what happens if I try to get those generic cartridges, it just doesn't. It acts all erratic, and it'll print like it'll have lines in it and everything. So now I gotta So since then, I just buy the name brand stuff, which is expensive. So
It's a game of chance, and that's the case. I mean, I have an Epson.
uh-huh.
I use the Epson Artisan, and
Actually, I got an Epson used from my my girlfriend's dad. I haven't hooked it up yet, but I'm gonna have to check it up. He gave me a whole bunch of ink cartridges too, and it prints wide format. It doesn't scan or anything like this one. So, but they take up so much space. I gotta find room for it.
yeah, that's part of the problem. But I have found, similar to what you were saying, a similar issue when you're getting the off-brand cartridges. Sometimes they do work. Sometimes that's not a big deal. But I guess it really does depend on which one you get it from. When I was living in New York, I had a store right around the corner that I could get it from, where it was fairly easy. But if I ended up going elsewhere, it was literally maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. But definitely the advantage to having the oversized printer is that, you know, like what Peter was mentioning, having to make the trips to the store, you'll have to rely on Kinko's or another printing company to do the work for you. You can just print it out and get it in, pretty much get it in your hands quickly to start the inking. I didn't actually start doing the blue line stuff until I think the second or third project I did with Tim at DC. Originally, I was actually getting the pages, which, coming from California, was just not cost effective, I guess.
Yeah, it's, you know, everything's gone up, postage and FedEx and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, Eric, I remember I was I was communicating with you on DeviantArt at some point, because you've mentioned that you've done pretty much most of your work digitally, and I'm still trying to transition to getting around to doing that. I'm still like Peter. I still pretty much do everything traditionally, so by hand, and I find it amazing, the stuff that I see you posting on DeviantArt on a regular basis, how you're able to put that out as quickly as you do, because you're posting regularly. You do this all the time. You're way too productive, man. You got to slow this down.
I know, right? Pig buys the bread and butter. You know, you're kind of the opposite of where I am, where I moved to digital because I thought the results came out better for me, because I never was happy with how well it inked traditionally, and then lately, with everything I've learned doing it all digital, I found myself kind of interested in going back to traditional, but I'm going back with more knowledge that I actually picked up from digital. It actually helped me be better at traditional, if that makes any sense. So, but in a way, I find myself, I can't go completely back to traditional. I still kind of find myself like, you know, I got to erase and start all over, or this or that. I like my undos. I like my layers. I'm going back.
Yeah.
So it's hard to completely give what you're used to or what you are most comfortable with up. But I think digital gives you a lot of opportunities to have more, I don't want to say perfect, but more crisp stuff. If you're not happy with how your traditional in one aspect is going, like, you can even pencil digitally if you don't like how you pencil traditionally, and it goes back and forth. I mean, people could say the same thing about traditional versus digital.
Yeah.
Just depends on what you're best at, you know.
Yeah, ultimately it boils down to comfort and control. What you can do both with, you're gonna more than likely stick with. But I'm kind of feeling, you know, I kind of feel you know, as we get more and more into how things actually become easier digitally, the temptation is always there to sort of go, well, maybe I should give this a try. I haven't quite been able to make the plunge. I have a couple of the programs. I mean, I fooled around in Photoshop, but, you know, unless I'm like scanning stuff in and like prepping it for sending off, I don't really play with it as much.
That's cool. I mean, sometimes I wish I could just not be on the computer. You know, you go through I go through phases where I'm like just tired of being on the computer, staring at a screen all the time. So I like, now it's the first time since we moved into the house I'm in that I currently can have a traditional setup. I have a desk over here where I can do traditional stuff, and that's really nice, because sometimes it's just nice to just get away and actually work traditionally. And I gotta say, yeah, working digitally improved my traditional stuff. Or working digitally, yeah, improved my digital stuff. I don't think, I think it was, even if I did end up going back to traditional completely, it helped, just, I don't know how, but it did.
Well, I would think of it along the lines of because this is a phrase that I hear all the time. People will say if you jump from like say drawing to painting and going back and forth, that one will invariably end up actually improving the quality of the other. If you jump into doing something different and you get comfortable with it, it'll sort of change the way you sort of think about going back to doing something else.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You're taking and adapting the stuff that you've learned and just jumping back to that old thing going, oh, hey, I can apply this to that. No, I get that completely.
Yeah, and I wonder where, if I hadn't gone digital at all, like where would I be now? Would I have gotten better just doing it traditional all the time? I mean, I wonder if it had anything to do with jumping medium or if it was just the practice in general.
Yeah.
Be interesting to know if I didn't do digital. Because I originally, when I started doing commission stuff, I was just traditional. So it'd be interesting to know if I could see where I was if I stayed traditional.
Yeah.
See if it was any different.
And we have Mike in the chat. Do you have a mic, or are you just going to type in hello?
Hey, Mike.
Let's see.
Can't hear him.
Oh, everything is good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a mic. I do a sort of a comic group, Skype chat Wednesday nights, and he joined us, but he was in the chat then. So I guess he's joining us on screen, but he'll type in stuff at various points.
Well, he records his videos. I figured he'd have some kind of microphone or something. I don't know.
He might do it via camera. I'm not sure. Why didn't you say it? How do you do that, Mike? Let us know.
How do I get to the? I gotta remember if I want to get to the chat.
It's the word balloon. The first, you go to the left. First.
Okay, I got it. Oh, there he goes. Okay.
He might get set up in a minute. Maybe he's just hooking everything up.
Okay.
I was gonna say, like, Eric, like traditional, digital, regardless how you're doing it. You've been creating art for X amount of time. You get better over time.
Mm-hmm.
That's
one thing I thought of after I stopped what I was saying. I was thinking, before I moved to digital, I was just using like Micron pens and Sharpies and stuff like that didn't really have any kind of variation to its line. And I always wondered why my lines didn't look that great. And then after I realized on digital, I used a digital brush, and I got pressure sensitivity and all that. I think one of the biggest things I learned was it actually taught me how to use a brush pen in real life. So whenever I started going back to traditional, I started using like Pigma brush pens and Faber-Castell brush pens and stuff like that, and that made the traditional stuff look better. Before I had no line variation. I guess that's one thing that I, developed.
Yeah, I definitely see that.
Yeah, I find that very interesting that you kind of went back from digital to traditional. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be the most difficult, because I mean, the feel of it. I don't think there's anything that can really beat the feel of working traditionally. But you have to sacrifice all, like you said, the undos and all that kind of stuff. And that's, I keep saying this every time I start a new issue, but I keep saying I gotta learn Manga Studio and start to use that. And I just bought the newest version of Clip Studio, which I hear is the same exact thing. So hopefully I can kind of teach myself that, and we'll see if I can speed up the process, because it's going on. It's almost close to a year since I started the first 100 days. And
that's one thing too.
I'm not done with it yet.
I don't know. Well, that's one thing too. I think having those undos and layers and being able to just select an area and increase the size or tweak it, that to me, I think one of the biggest draws was speeding up the workflow. So you're not like redoing it or erasing or crumpling up the paper and starting over. And it just kind of helped you change stuff on the spot. I mean, it seemed to speed up the workflow a little bit. Was one of the main draws, I think.
Oh, I think it's got to speed it up a lot, because I just see like right now there's just certain things that I'm doing with this, like for instance there's a character here that wears glasses, and those I've have little, let me see if I can pull this up. Let me find that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I still have it here. Yeah, so I've got these glasses that I created digitally, and I just throw them in there and skew them out and everything to fit the character. It's just so I don't have to redraw those every time. But if you could do that with almost everything,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and just like if you get something wrong, you can cut and paste and move it around instead of having to erase the whole thing. I mean, it's going to speed up the process so much.
Oh yeah, you can't beat that,
That would be like I forget what it was called. I think it was for girls. Like it was sort of like an image of characters and these little like sort of magnets where you put different clothes and whatnot on a character.
Paper dolls. Paper dolls.
Maybe.
I think it's paper dolls.
Well, if any of you guys follow Thomas Clemens, who does a webcomic, he's doing the 100 days, but he does a comic strip, and he does his all digitally, and he's just got his different character, and it's still a little different with the strip, but he's got just ready-made versions of his characters with different expressions, and he'll just kind of drop those in, and then he'll kind of alter them and add things to them and things like that. But it's really interesting how he does that.
Yeah, I saw one or two of his videos. I'm trying to catch up on everybody.
Yeah, I mean they're really good. They're really informative. I mean he's always does like a different topic, and he really gets like in depth and stuff. So yeah, he's doing a really good job with it.
Emmy does that too.
Yeah, I like watching her process too.
Yeah, like where she'll have sort of basic head shapes and go in and tweak it a bit to fit the new panels or whatever.
So when you guys work digitally, is it ever a concern that you might be losing a bit of revenue from not having original pieces to sell?
Sure.
And how do you deal with that? Or, do you just do prints to subsidize that, or what's the...
I draw a lot of sketch cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. I since most of my digital work is coloring and lettering, it's not that big a deal. So
Right.
my other stuff, I do sketches and pinups and what have you. So I'm still drawing on paper. I'm still penciling and inking when I can, just so I can have extra stuff. But I do find sometimes you get so used to digital that there have been times where I'm working on something. It's like, oh, I really like this. Let me save it. And I realize I'm working on paper and pen. But my hand still goes for that, command save mode type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, those are the little things that pop up. But, whenever I can, I still draw just to have materials around, especially when I do cons.
Right.
So I mean, I think you can also do what you do, Kevin. I mean, you don't draw them. Well, you sort of do a kind of a weird hybrid method, but I mean, if you do it digitally and print out a blue line and then ink it, I don't know if you could sell that as much as if it was the actual pencils. I don't know. I mean, I guess it all depends what people are willing to pay.
I know a couple of comic artists do that.
Yeah, my pencils are digital, but then I ink traditional.
Yep. And the ink page is a physical thing, so you can definitely sell that. For example, Ryan Otley, he does that. He'll lay out a page on a computer, and then he'll print it out in blue line, do finished pencils. Then he'll scan that, and then maybe touch up a thing or two, but print that out in blue line to ink it. And so he'll have like two pieces from one page, and he sells those apparently.
Yeah.
That's something I never got into. So
One of the reasons I'm doing this is me and my partner were talking about it. I'm going to be selling the inks, and he's going to be selling the pencils.
hmm
So each be making a decent, money off of it.
That's good.
Yeah, I know some people at Marvel that did that, where you had the penciler work on the pages, and then, like Peter said, have it copied onto Blue Line and ink over that. So there exists two of the same page. One's inked and one's pencil. So yeah, people are doing it.
Yeah, that's pretty much most of my collection, actually.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, personally, that's what I'm doing. Like, what I'm working on right now is for client stuff, and I just go straight to inks from, like, real rough pencils. But then, I don't know how well this is showing up, but here's one of my pages that I'm penciling, and I pencil in a red pencil just because it's like a psychological thing. It frees me up,
hmm
So it's not, if it's black, I feel like it's permanent, and then if it's, a color, I feel a little looser with it, so.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely something to it.
So yeah, so the client stuff I just sketch real fast digitally and go straight to inks, and then my personal stuff I want to make it look better because I have the time, I don't have a deadline. So I still do the sketch like real loose and everything in Photoshop digitally, and then print it out, pencil over top of that, then I'll scan in this, and then I'll print it out on 11 by 17 Blue Line, and I'll ink from that.
Very cool.
So that way, I kind of also, from my personal stuff, I get two versions of the same art.
That cityscape looked awesome, Kevin.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, definitely did.
It's been a while since I've done something like that. I've got to buckle down and try to attack something like that.
Yeah, man. It's it'd been a long time for me too, and I thought, well, it's my own stuff. I don't, like with this client stuff, I have to, I've talked about on YouTube a lot where I, got a blank piece of paper or blank, canvas on the computer, and I have to do pencils, inks, colors, letters, all in one day, within 10 hours, so.
Hey.
So I never get to do cityscapes in it or anything fun like that because it's just, I'd be making like way under minimum wage. So my personal stuff, I thought it'd be cool to try to use that again.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's how
Go ahead.
that's how I began my career, doing, filling in blacks for being like an inker assistant.
That's how I started too.
Yeah, and then I started inking backgrounds, and I used to love cityscapes and like mad scientist labs, and just spend hours on noodling details and whatnot.
Yeah.
My first art job was actually doing architectural renderings, so I did a lot of that kind of stuff. But it's funny, like now it's just like, it's like I'm like a time crunch. Sometimes I'll find a photo and like trace it, or just
Right.
I don't even like break out because I've got because I used to do it old school. This is before CAD or anything. I've got these big grids that we used to use, and I still have them, and they're like ancient. But I used to roll these grids out, and you can just drop it down on your art desk and find your points and draw these. Everything's in perspective. But it's just like, it just takes so much time to set that up. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to, like Manga Studio with all their perspective tools and stuff, and really doing some of that stuff.
Yeah.
There.
I want to do that too. That cityscape, man, it's like, that's another reason why I like, doing the rough pencils digitally, because I've got these brushes that are actually kind of just more like stamps, because that's 3-point perspective, And so you just kind of find the right size and you stamp it, You just like click once on the canvas and then it puts a grid for that stuff, and man, it's still taking a long time.
Is that in Manga Studio?
No, Photoshop, sorry.
Photoshop, okay.
Yeah, I have Manga Studio, but I still haven't, like, because of this graphic novel job, I still haven't had, like, really the time to do anything else, like, sit and learn something else, something new,
Yeah, no, it's crazy because I bought the program and it's like sitting there. I haven't even got a chance to like do anything with it.
Yeah, no, I think I've had it for like 2 years or something.
I got it probably a month ago. I haven't even like opened it.
Yeah, I got Manga Studio to learn in color, but Like, most I've done is my YouTube covers, just messing around.
Perspective, conversation killer.
It's like, it's challenging. It's like, but when you after you do it and after it's done, it's like, oh wow, look at that, look what I did.
Yeah, it always looks so awesome. If you get it.
Because really, I mean, when you look at it, it's weird because when you look at a comic book, you're so used to seeing characters and stuff. But when I look at a comic book anyway, and I see like a cool cityscape like that, it just draws me in, and I look at all the details and stuff much more than I do like the characters and stuff because you don't. A lot of people just take shortcuts and you don't see that as much. But when I see really good backgrounds and cityscapes and things like that, I mean, I really delve into that.
Yeah, I mean that's like good, like
treating
your environment as a character, not just as like the stage backdrop. I think
You're the
Some
second
same
person
way.
that's used that word.
What's that?
You're the second person recently that I've heard that's actually used the term treating the background like a character, or treating other items in the actual in a given page or something like that like a character, because it's for a long time for me basically trying to handle backgrounds and other elements. It becomes a more of a drawing and artificial thing when you're having to think of it separate from the page, which is I guess a lot of how I thought of it. So the
Yeah.
idea of kind of focusing it as a separate character in the composition actually sort of helps that along, because you're no longer thinking of it as just this box or this thing you have to sort of make into a thing. It's a character. It's something that's as vital to the image as the actual as anything else in the composition.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, I've heard that comparison, especially like when when you talk about like Gotham City is every bit as much a character as Batman. I mean, when you think that, you picture it in your head and you know what it is, you know what it's like. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, totally. I mean, think of, what if all those popular Batman stories happened in Metropolis? It'd be a totally different flavor. So, yeah, it's important.
So, cityscapes remind me of Kirby, and Kirby reminds me of Devil Dinosaur. Have you seen the new Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur?
Yeah, Scott sent me a message about that today.
at first I shared it, and then I'm like, and then I saw like on the side of Facebook it actually mentioned it. So I'm like, oh, that must just be, everyone must know about it. So I was glad I got it to you before you heard it from somebody else.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I don't know. Somehow the Google Analytics didn't pick up that I love Devil Dinosaur.
Yeah, I don't know.
Show it to me.
How dare it?
I know.
All I saw was one image, and he definitely doesn't look as fun. I mean, the Moon Girl looks fun, but Devil Dinosaur, I don't know.
Well, I mean, Devil Dinosaur, have you read it recently? It's so goofy. It's just like, I mean, I know Jack Kirby wasn't a creationist or anything. It's like some weird creationist wet dream, really, and just like silly. So I don't know. You can't really mess up a dinosaur.
So the one thing that I found, and this could be wrong, but the way the article was written, it sounded like that they haven't even really used Devil Dinosaur since Kirby. Is that true?
Well, there was a story.
There have been very few appearances for Devil Dinosaur. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, one of the most recent ones it didn't feature Devil Dinosaur as a main character. They sort of used him as the villain in the Next Wave thing done by Monin and Ellis. The Next Wave 12-issue limited series, he turned out to be the villain. It was literally Devil Dinosaur in a smoking jacket with holding a wine glass. It was
Devil Dinosaur?
Yes,
That sounds fantastic.
It was the goofiest thing. Oh no, the book was great. It was fantastic, but that was the last time I remembered seeing anything with him in it, up until what you were just mentioning.
See, that's how. I mean, I'd really love to see Devil Dinosaur played just as a comedy character. Like, there was just a one-off story that, God, might be 10 years old by now. But Devil's Dinosaur was in it, and so was the Hulk, and they were in space. And I can't remember really what happened, but it was a comedy story, and it was really, just remember really digging it.
Trying desperately to get this to show what I'm actually working on. This is not easy. The camera, it won't listen to me.
I was looking, I was watching, I forgot the channel, but a YouTube artist was showing off this lighting setup, and I'm trying to remember what lighting she used, but he had these little umbrella lights, and there was a kit. It was only like $50. It came with 2 umbrella lights and then like 3 different lamps. It just seemed like a really good deal, and I think I'm gonna have to invest in that. But I need to get better lighting on my artwork and everything.
Yeah, I have, when I'm working upstairs, because I'm not usually working in front of the computer, I have my art table upstairs. I am using my camera to like do videos that I'm generally posting on my Patreon and on YouTube. So because the camera is literally sitting like on the lamp, I can't use it for very long. Otherwise, if I have the lamp on, it's gonna burn the phone. So I have actually. I'm working on getting. They have a tripod, like a 50-inch. There's a 50-inch tripod you can get to actually set the phone on, so I can have a different light source and all that good stuff.
I myself got this thing called 321 Ready. It's a flexible phone holder, and I can basically. It's about 2 feet long, and it has a clip that you could attach it to the table, and then it has another clip that you put the phone on. And I've been using that because I have it where it's clipped to the desk next to my art desk. So this way here, when I'm like erasing or anything like that, it doesn't shake the camera like it used to. So, and because I have it on a different desk and then hanging over the desk, I have it set up that way, and it seems to work pretty well for me. And it's I think my buddy bought it on Amazon or something like that, but it's called the 321 Ready Flexible Phone Holder, and then so far it's been working pretty well.
Is that the one where you can basically just set it, like you can, if you like get a spot on like on the corner or on a wall, you can just put it up there, or?
Well, it has a clip that you can snap it onto like a table. And then it has the clip that holds the phone itself. Let me see if I can find it online to show you what it looks like.
And while he's doing that, so one of the things I discussed during this past Skype chat was I desperately want to increase my speed, and I'm making it more of a focus than I have previously. I've always been reluctant.
You're too old to do drugs.
What's that?
Increase your speed.
But I hear speed is good.
Just drink more coffee.
So why you been reluctant? Sorry, to derail you.
Because, quality over everything else.
Well,
and,
I mean, there's the old adage, first you get good, then you get fast, then you get good and fast.
Yeah,
I heard that one. I like it though.
I got good, but I got slower. So I just got to make it.
It's going to suck for a little bit, and then you'll catch up to good stuff. So.
But it's like I have to mentally make it a conscious decision that, hey, I'm going for speed. And,
Well, here's my recipe for helping me. Work for a publisher who doesn't pay very well. And then you just bust through those pages. It forces you to. When I realized, like, if for this client, if I was drawing up to my ability, I'd be making like $250 an hour. It's like, all right, screw that.
Yeah, I've been there. I've done it where, I found out how to do like my best quality inking, but I would have to charge like for 2 or 3 hours worth per hour instead of, yeah, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, like with this client that doing this book for now, it's the first couple pages, I was using Winsor Newton, sable brush hair, all that kind of stuff, and now I'm just using these Kuretake markers.
Kuretake.
They're
Second day, I thought you said you're using talking markers.
well, I buy myself so much that sometimes.
Yep.
No, they're these markers, and they're these double end. I don't know well it's showing up there, but they're double ends. There's like a big end and a small end, and they're felt tip, but they still have a thin to thick line, except for instead of like using pressure like you would with a brush, you kind of roll the thing. You know what I mean? Like you get the thin line, and then as you roll it, it gets more area like that, and it probably doesn't look as good as when I ink other ways, but man, it gets the job done much faster. So.
How does that compare? How do those compare to like a Pentel pocket brush?
$10 cheaper.
Okay.
Pentel pocket brush, it still is that principle of the.
Well, Pentel pocket brush aren't more than $10 for one of those, are they?
I don't know, man. They're like $14 over here. Maybe
okay, so they're only like those are only like $4. Those pens you're talking about?
They're like $5. I think I got them. Same place. Okay. There's a Japanese.
Jet pens?
No, you can get these through jet pens, yeah. But there's a Japanese market that also has a bookstore in the back, and in the bookstore there's a little like art section. It's got manga paper and a bunch of Japanese pens and stuff, and so I just go there. But
I'm just wondering for like convention sketches, because I mean,
for convention sketches, like after this book, I can't see using these professionally for much more than this book, because just the nature of this job and the pay and everything. But for convention sketches, I think they'd be fantastic. Like I'm using them for my Patreon sketches, and it goes so fast because you don't have to dip and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes I still smear the Pentel pocket brush pen.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I don't know what it is, but like when I first started using them, I was really digging them, but now it's like it's hard for me to keep it from wobbling, like the ink lines from wobbling, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just I'm getting older or shakier or what.
Well, I don't know this to be a fact, but it seems like I've had a couple now, and it's like when they get old or something, you start jamming the cartridges in or something like that, they start. Something happens inside or something, maybe it warps a little bit, and then too much ink starts coming out of them eventually. It's like it creates some kind of like, I don't know, like warps the ends or something. I don't know. But
yeah, I've noticed based on the brush, like some seem to work better. Like sometimes it's when I get a new one and the ink just flows out way too much or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's like a sweet spot.
Yeah.
What's sort of the trick of using those? I mean, you've mentioned that they are sort of disposable by nature. I mean, you use them for a while and eventually they'll wear. But you mentioned using Kuretake. The only Kuretake I'm even familiar with was the original brush pen that's basically this really fancy thing where it's the nylon hair that's designed to really mimic like your Winsor Newton style, and it's something that you can wash out and everything. It's this long laborious process. It's almost like the brush equivalent of the rapidograph pen.
Yeah, I was gonna say I stopped using those a long time ago just because of the pain in the ass.
Exactly. I love them, but the upkeep is ridiculous.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'll just keep buying microns or,
You would do a project and then have to clean it all out over and over again. That's why I eventually switched to Pitt pens and Prismacolor pens to do most of the stuff. By the way, this is what it looks like. The
cool.
flexible long arm cell phone holder desktop. I know I didn't buy it in Sears. I just happened to find the same type.
Okay.
So it pretty much has a pretty cool clip and a long neck, and it's pretty stable. So I've enjoyed using it.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
What? I'm on a call. What?
What?
I'm doing a thing. Leave me alone.
God.
My friends on the internet. They
If you don't have
exist.
anything worthwhile to say about Devil Dinosaur, can you please just fuck off? No, but back to the Kuretake, there is that really, they do have like a couple really nice ones that are expensive.
Yeah.
You know, and they even have kind of, I think, like a metal housing, I guess, casing. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's all weighted nice. These are real cheap plastic. So.
And that is a brush pen. Or is it?
Kinda. It's felt, but you can get a thin to thick line
That's cool.
with it. It takes a little bit of practice, but you know, if you can do that with a brush, you know, it's the learning curve isn't that much. It just, you know, kind of get used to it during the course of a page.
Yeah.
Look into those.
The Copic multiliners have something similar, but the actual tip itself is much thinner, so you have to work more for the wide gradation of line.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing too with these Kuretake felt ones, is they're real stiff at first,
Mm-hmm.
and then they do hit a sweet spot that'll last for a few pages, and then it just, you know, it's becomes almost like when the microns split, something
Right.
like that. So, but they're cheap enough that, you know, buy a bulk batch of them and throw them out. But
Yeah.
That's cool.
So Kevin, I got a bunch of these. I don't really use them because I haven't mastered them yet. But they're like the pit pen, but the brush. Are they better than that? Have you used these before?
I've never used those. Is that like a felt end?
Yeah, it's like a felt.
I've got those. Is that the different gray tones?
Yeah, it's Fiber Castile.
They're good. I wish the
artist
nib
fit.
held up. I wish the nib held up longer. I really like them, but that's a problem to find a lot of artists have. I've heard like Scotty Young talk about it, and other people where they're trying to find one where the nib actually holds up longer than 5 or 10 pages. You know.
Yeah.
And apparently there's some Japanese ones supposed to be good, but you know, in America most of the ones we have, they break down in a couple pages. But I like them. I use them.
Yeah, I have to give them a shot because I just played around with them just right now, and actually the line is pretty tight compared to, you know, the problems I've been having with my pocket brush.
Yeah, it'll start fraying eventually, but it's really good when it's before that.
So if it's something that like has a short life, is it biodegradable?
Of course.
Yes. We'll say yes.
You can actually just eat them after you're done.
Delicious.
Those scratch and sniff markers or something.
Yep.
The fruit ones always smell good. Now they just need to make them so you can actually eat them. What was that, Crayola or something?
I can't remember who made those things. It might have been Crayola.
Crayola might have made some, but it was a different brand that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I wasn't certain if it was Crayola or not, but there was definitely another company doing it.
That takes
Yeah,
me
I can
back
see
though.
what
It
the
makes
package
me,
looks like in my head, but
yeah, it takes me back though. It makes me want to get a pack just for old time's sake, like coloring with those.
You see what you've done? You see what you've now you've got him wanting to sniff markers. Are you happy?
Yeah.
Are you happy?
Well, see, that's the thing, because they made those ones that you could sniff, but then if you try like some of the old like ad or design markers, those things will knock you out.
Yeah.
marks a lot.
Yeah.
That wasn't just alcohol. Yeah, that was something else.
Man, I want to make some sweet art today and get super high.
Man, this picture looks great. It looks terrible. I don't care, man. I'm so high.
I hear it's legal in some states.
Yeah, they just legalized it here in Oregon. You can carry one marker with you and not get busted.
But only one, because it's for
One
medical
marker.
purposes.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, look, man, I got a bad back. I got to huff this marker.
No, I'm just huffing, man. Leave me alone.
I gotta draw, man. You don't understand.
You're harshing my mellow, man.
I'm not hurting anybody. Leave me alone. Just want to huff my marker and order a pizza.
Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs.
Yeah, no.
Do art instead.
Yeah. Not sure which is more dangerous, but
Make sure to pay for the good stuff. That's all.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
some high-grade Strathmore.
Ooh.
I know where to get it below street value.
Now, wouldn't that be funny to see on the street going, hey, man, I got some Strathmore here, man. I got some straight-up good Strathmore Bristol, man. You need to get this Strathmore, man.
I got a cold press and hot press.
I could probably do that because I bought a whole bunch of it. Like Michael's had like a sale, like buy one get two free, so I just stocked up. So
Yeah, I try to stock them. The Michaels near me sold out really fast.
Yeah, I've seen everybody post
out in front of
that.
Michael's now, and I'll just stand out in front of Michael's now and sell them for less than what they're selling.
Silly. Silly.
That's what you used to do in school with like candy and stuff. We'd go buy all the candy because they would sell it. They'd sell it at school, but it would be like way marked up, and then everyone would bring all this candy and put it in their bags, and then sell it at recess.
So has anybody had any encounters with other creators or publishers this week that are worthy of talking about, or maybe artistic challenges, or?
Challenges right now for me include just getting work.
Just living, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, primarily because I have a couple of artists that are interested in working on projects with me, but like I literally I was in an email conversation with one of them, and he was basically going, okay, I want to this company wants to do this and this, and getting that to actually happen takes forever, and then we want to do this other thing, and it's just this massive effort to just try to get any of it actually to happen. It's like everybody's talking about something wanting to happen, but it never quite comes together. I mean, it's just a frustrating thing. I can't put into words how annoying it is to not be able to just go to the publisher himself and go, hey, what's going on with this, so I can have some idea of what's going on with a given job, as opposed to going through a middleman or having somebody else having to feed the information for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my experience with the publishers is that, like, they'll say, yeah, I want to get something for you, or working on something to get to you. You really don't know until you get it.
Yeah.
And even then, until you get the script in hand or pages in hand or whatever, know if it's going to happen or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely frustrating trying to look for work because, the first thing you do is you contact everybody you worked with already in the past, and then it is weird how we have more access to things that are supposed to get us work, but it doesn't really. I can't say how many social networks I'm a part of that I want to use to network and then try to get work from, but most of the time it's like I think I had an account with Monster since they've existed and never found any work from there. And then stuff like I've done a little better for freelance.com, but I never really got hired, but I had gotten more. At least I was talking to more people because of it.
Right. At least more exposure, so you'd have access to more people, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And again, it's like one of those weird things is that you want to get as much work as possible, and then while you're working, you're still having to line up the next gig.
That's like the business in a nutshell.
Pretty much.
Yes. The hardest part is just lining up the work, not being highly skilled, but actually getting the work.
I think it was Tom Mandrake. One of my early trips to the New York Comic Con, he was the one that basically said, your best case scenario is basically making sure you have work 3 months ahead of what you're doing, right? Like at that moment. If you can stay 3 months ahead all the time, then you're generally in a good position, because that means that money's coming in and you're never in a position where you don't have work.
Right.
That's the goal. It's obviously not something that just happens.
I have months and months of work, but that's because independent publishers are slow.
Yeah. There you go. I
Yeah.
can't argue with that.
Man, this book I'm working on right now, it's been all year, but they gave me the script 2 months late, and they still want the same deadline.
I hate
So
that.
that's my challenge.
That sounded like everything I did from Avatar. I'm sorry. Did that come out loud? Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
You meant the Airbender, not the publisher. So if you're listening,
Exactly. Yes. Clearly.
there's other avatars out there. Okay.
It was more the fact that it was either a feast or famine situation, or you would basically you never got it in an even dose. So you would get one issue and you'd be like, okay, well, there's 6 pages here, I can bounce that out right quick and wait for the next batch. Or it would be, here's all 22 pages. We need these in 2 weeks. Wait, what?
Yeah, can we have this tomorrow?
Yeah.
We want you to color it too.
Or I work with a lot of other artists who will get me work, like they'll handle the pencils and inks, and I'll do the coloring and the lettering for the project. So, he hires us out like as a studio.
Right.
And there'll be times where it's like, okay, we have this job coming up. It's going to be due by the end of the month. We got, 15 days to work on it. And it's like, all right. And he's like, so you got to be ready. You got to be prepared. You got to be, willing to work. And it's like, yeah, just give me the work and I'll do it. And for the next few weeks, it'll be the same kind of speech. When I'm done, I'll give it to you. And you got to get it quick. And I can see right away, it's like, oh, you got 15 days. I'm only going to have like 2 or 3.
Yep.
And you're going to eat up all of my time. And that's that catch-22. It's like, well, he's getting me the work, but it's going to be a pain at the end. And again, it's like, it's what you learn early in your career. When I go to conventions, you talk to so many people, and everyone's on this convention high, and they're all wanting to work on something. And I call it the con promise, where everyone's like, we got to work together. And I used to like grab a couple of jobs and go, okay, so I'll put this into my schedule. And I realized I could take every one of those jobs because they're not all going to pan out. Everyone has, as I said before, they're just so high at the convention, and they're so happy to be at the convention. It's like, we're going to do more projects. We're going to do more work. And it's like, all right, just call me and hire me. And then at the end, it's like maybe 1 or 2 of them pans out. And then the rest of them, it's like, I'm glad I took them all, because now I can easily go, okay, now I can pick and choose. Before I would go, well, I got like a few jobs out of here. Maybe I don't have to keep looking. And it's like, nope, keep looking and take every job, because they're not all going to pan out.
Con euphoria. That's
Yes.
Everybody is this whole bunch of artists that are together. Oh my God, look at all these people can do. That guy can do this. This is awesome. I have to do something with you, and you, and you, and you, and you walk away and you're not doing anything with anyone.
Not at all. No.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. It's just collaboration's hard. So it's like for any personal stuff, like I gotta just do it myself now. And if it's clients, it's gotta be. I gotta just worry about money rather than cool at this point, I guess. Which is crass and a bum out, but.
Yeah.
No, it's understandable. You got to be that freelancer. You got to be the mercenary. You got to be Boba Fett, gun for hire. Pay me and I'll do the work.
And run screaming from anybody that utters the words, "Let's do this for the exposure."
Oh,
Oh yeah.
exposure
That's
kills.
like that stinks of like okay.
No.
That's you're just like listen here, Junior.
You shut your filthy mouth. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so bad about that word that if people even if people even use that in any context, I'm like I cringe. Even if it has nothing to do with trying to get you to do work for free or something.
I know, just hearing that word, even when it's in the context of like, you know, being killed by the elements in a desert.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I learned a long time ago. Exposure kills.
It does, man.
It definitely does. Learn to stay away from that. Stay away from anyone who says, "Trust me, I'm a millionaire."
Yeah.
Because the only way they stay millionaires because they won't spend the money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was told a friend of mine who has been working on 2 different projects. Somebody's echoing.
Yeah.
Not sure who.
I got my headphones on this time. It's usually me, but I got my headphones on, so I don't
I
think
have
it's me.
headphones as well.
Yeah, but I'll just continue. He's worked on like he finished one graphic novel. He's working on a second one, and the publisher is a great guy. I'm not gonna name any names, but he's not being effective, and he's leaving this guy hanging. And I'm like, dude, you gotta work for yourself. You gotta make it happen on your own. You gotta produce product. You gotta, a lot of stuff we're doing. If you want to make money, do art and sell it. Make prints. Something. Don't just work on a graphic novel that's not going anywhere, while the other one you did a year ago is still not published.
Yeah, if you're going to work for free, might as well work on your own project for that.
Exactly.
Yep. That's
And
what I
not
was
fall,
kind of tell. Oh, sorry.
and not fall into the trap of, oh, I'm working on my own. I find a lot of times I've talked to other people who publish their own stuff. Is like they tell me that they feel guilty when they're working on their own stuff, and it's like, why? Oh well, I should be working on the paid stuff. And it's like if you're currently not getting any paid stuff, and you go to do something for free, it might as well be your own. Don't be, as an artist, you're your own worst critic, and the worst thing you could do is make yourself feel guilty for working on your own projects.
Absolutely.
Trying to learn not to do that.
To an extent, though, because I have a wife and a kid,
Mm-hmm.
But that's definitely gone away. I mean, just listen to my intro over again. But
I'll be right back.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Devil, Dinosaur, and Drugs.
Who knew? Tell your friends. So Kevin, you started your Patreon account a long time ago. You connected it with your music.
Yeah.
You've made a couple bucks doing that.
Couple.
But you switched over to your comic work, and now it's kind of blowing up a bit.
Well, I don't know if it's blowing up, but
You're doing much better.
it's doing better than music. I mean, the music I was playing, it's like 80s type hardcore punk. It's not. It's a very it's super niche. So, but yeah, I just don't have time to work on it myself anymore, and I'm in a band now, so it just makes sense to make it reflect what I do, spend most of my time doing nowadays, comics and everything. And my goal, I mean, it'll be 16 years as an illustrator or cartoonist, whatever, same difference. And I'm I was being kind of jokey in the beginning when I said that freelancing sucks and everything, but I just don't want to do it anymore. I just don't want to work for publishers. that pair me up with writers who I don't know why they got their book got signed. You know, sounds like I'm being real egotistical, but I don't mean it to be. Um, I just kind of fed up with the business, and I spent so much time chasing the clients, getting clients, and then not being that happy about it. Um, and there's several reasons. Some of it's my fault, some of it's just the industry stuff. So, but it's just I don't know, man. There's something about like I'm gonna be 44 in a couple weeks, and it's things like that. I'm like, man, I don't want to keep being miserable. I don't know how much. It's not like I'm super old or anything, but I'd like to have a go at just making it on my own merits. My own art, my own writing.
Yeah.
And then I'm just so tired of like okay, so here's an example of some bullshit that happened this week. So my daughter and my wife are on another week vacation that we had planned last year. Well, I'm here. I'm home because I got to work on this thing because it doesn't pay as much as I previously thought it was going to pay, and that's even after contracts and all that stuff. But there's been some kind of heavy shit that's gone on this year, like some family illnesses, things like that, and that have taken me away from this job. And it's still on time, but I get this every week. I get, where's the new pages this week? Where's the new pages this week? And I'm like, Jesus, they're right here, Or did you check a couple emails before? Whatever was in your inbox when you logged in. It's like they're just real pushy, and they're still getting their shit. But there have been times when heavy stuff has happened, and I'm like, hey, man, life happens, so you're going to get your pages a couple days late. And, but it's not affecting the overall deadline. Anyway, so I'm all bitter because I'm missing another vacation because of this stupid book. And, the editor sends back, and he's like, oh God, what do you say? Oh, we don't need any more, we can't take any more setbacks. And I was like, what do you mean, setbacks? And I was like, I'm staying home from vacation, another vacation, I can't go because of this job. I worded it differently than that. But, and then he goes, oh, okay, great, it's good to hear what's going on. Well, don't send me any emails next week because he's in London. I'm going to be on holiday. And I was like, really? Fuck you.
Wait, what?
And that happens all the time, like with this publisher, and it's not the only publisher. I mean, I've worked for big publishers in kids' books, and it happens all the time, where they'll say, hey, we need these pages by Monday. And it's more than you can physically do without any all-nighters. And you'll kill yourself almost to get these pages done by Monday, thinking like, oh, you're doing this great service, and they're going to hire you back again, blah, blah, blah. You get them done, and then you get from the art director or the editor, you get a automated message back that says, I will be out of the office for a week, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why the fuck you?
Yeah.
And that's been happening a lot. I mean, and it's like, I'm not new at this, and I have an agent, so it's like, it's just happening. I don't know. I'm just fed up. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of working for other people. I'd rather, at this point, go bag groceries and work on my own stuff. A couple years ago, I was working for my agent. I don't know if I said this already. Is in kids' books, and I was doing a bunch of kids' book stuff, and then on the side, I was doing like drawings and things like that and selling them, and I realized that I was making more per hour on my own work. And that's not saying that all of a sudden if I quit and started doing my own work, then everything would sell. But, the things that sold. So that really got me thinking, and, And people, you know, what are we, 7, 8 years after the Great Recession, and people are still using that as an excuse.
I do a lot of, as I mentioned before, I do sketch card art,
Hmm.
and that's its own like little industry of itself that I've only taken a peek at um, in the collecting of it. Like I have a few that I've bought from other artists and what have you, and I've been a member of some of the online chat rooms about it, and it is amazing how much people really like these things to the point where it's like I made pretty good money doing it. Doing sketch cards. The aftermarket is where you really make money because you don't make anything from the companies themselves. They only give
Yeah, I
you a
heard
few
that's
bucks.
they're pretty.
They only give you a few bucks of cards, but you get to when you do X amount, you get X amount to keep, and then you can resell those, and those make pretty good money. And sometimes you'll get commissions and stuff like that because people will have like a favorite character that they want everyone to draw. So
Mhm.
you get those, and I haven't been to those cons yet, but I hear they're really good for selling sketch cards. But there's also a small group of them too that kind of prize themselves into buying cards from artists as cheaply as possible. So they'll give them whatever little story, whatever little sob story about, oh, I can't afford to get your card. I would love to pay you only this much. Then you take pity on them, you give them a discount, and then they turn around and go to the message board and says, I just got this from this artist, as if to say, I just gypped this guy, and
Right.
here are my cards. And again, it's just a small group of them that does that, but it's amazing to hear things, the sob stories. Especially doing cons, it's like, oh, it cost me so much to get in here. Can you give me a discount on your print or whatever? And it's like, I don't get any money from the door. I have to pay to be here too. I had to buy this table. I had to buy the chairs.
I need to
So
eat. I've
you
got
know
rent. Pay me for my work. And if
exactly.
you can't afford the entrance price, then don't come in.
Yeah, don't complain about you can't get in. You got in. It's not my fault. You paid X amount of money to have the Stanley experience.
Yeah. Well, I meant like don't come into to you as an entity, as a shop. Metaphorically speaking, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it's I know I when I was younger in this, I think I was more gullible with that kind of stuff. People give me a sob story, I'd be like, "Well, you seem cool," and I do something for them. And now I'm just like, "Look, man, um, I got bills to pay. I need to eat. My daughter needs to eat. Um,
Your priorities are different. I mean, you have an absolute focus that you have to have fulfilled, and you can feel sorry for somebody and just realize that as sorry as I feel for you, I can't help you.
yeah, I mean, I am sorry for myself that I can't have lobster every night, but I'm not going to the seafood restaurant and telling them that I just really like lobster a lot, but I can't afford it. I just,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like Chris
That's a,
Rock. I'm gonna get you, sucker. Can
good
I,
Lord, that's a lot of money.
yeah.
Just pour it in my hand.
Can you break 100?
that was the kicker right there. That was a great bit.
Yeah.
That had been like Chris Rock's first ever role, wasn't it?
I
Well,
think it was one
I
of
mean,
his
to put
early.
him on the map is, I
New
think.
Rock City. It's like
CB40 was one of them, I know.
I think I'm gonna
think
get you
CB4
sucker
was
was
after.
before New Jack City. I think. Pretty sure. Could be wrong. Anyway.
Anyway, speaking of, we can't work for free. We got to be New Jack hustlers. See what I did there?
Yes, yes. Nice tie. I like that. Yes,
You
very
like
good.
that?
Yes. Yes.
Did you say I'm going to get you, sucker? Scott?
Yeah, where were you?
Um,
he was
I was
doing
here.
another podcast.
I had this dream, Devil Dinosaur.
one of my ex-girlfriends worked on that film.
Oh, really?
Nice.
She was a art producer, something.
Hmm.
Production.
Yeah, that was I think that was like Keenan Ivory Wayans before In Living Color and everything. That was
In Dungeons and Dragons.
No, wrong Wayans. That was Marlin.
Oh, sorry.
I guess I don't understand
No,
that
there's
reference.
a lot of them. It's easy to get them confused.
They're like Baldwins. I never know who's who.
Exactly.
They're all out of work.
Well, there's the funny one. There's the right-wing one. There's, and I think the Wayans go kind of like that too, don't they? There's the funny one. There's the Seidler. There's the successful one. I don't know.
And
I think
actually,
a lot of them are pretty successful.
I know. I'm
Talking
just
about
being a
Baldwins.
dick because they have more money than me.
yeah, fair enough. It's true. They have more money than all of us. Screw them.
Yeah.
But I wanted to mention with your Patreon, you sort of shifted your work to, like you wanted to work on your comic and make the patron work for you, and you made an effort to be working on your comic.
Yeah, I mean, this all comes from when I started the 100 Days of Making Comics.
Yeah.
That was all because I wanted to work on my comic, and it was like a moment of, as cheesy as it sounds, I want to empower myself to say no to clients, and work on my own stuff, because I was, I mean, this, I've talked about this before, I was in that trap where, I was like, I'll do my stuff after the client stuff is done, and then another client job would come in, and, you just never get your own stuff done, and, it was really getting to me, so. And then I was like, well, somehow I'm going to make it off my own art eventually. It's probably going to take a long time, and it may never happen, but I've got to try, So that's just one of the pieces, I guess. I mean, it's like a 5-year plan. I don't think, it's going to be like overnight or anything, that's for sure.
Since I haven't seen your patron page, what do you do on the page? Videos or stuff like that?
Yeah, it's listed as comics and videos because I do a comic book about a monkey who is a secret agent and a rock star. And so my videos, most of them are based around making that comic. And for like, I guess more, I don't want to say beginner, but I do go through my process sometimes, and sometimes I just goof off, but yeah, I make a lot of videos based on creation of comics, and I've got some other videos that are going to be coming up, like a comedy show that ties in, which is ties into what I do. It's going to be a comedy show with comics, and an adventure show. That also ties into art, so that's going to be coming up on there too. I've been filming stuff for that, but
I'm really curious to see.
the Patreon's only a couple months old now at this point, so.
Yeah, mine is not even a month old at this point, so I'm still new to all of this. This is my first time doing this whole podcast thing. Happy to be here. You guys are awesome, and just still trying to find ways to sort of help manage basically doing this stuff on my own until other work comes in, not trying to rely on that as my only source of income, because I'm going to starve if I do.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, for me it's like a 5-year plan, and it might not work, but you got to do stuff like this to subsidize,
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
You just can't, it's just not that 1950s days of illustration as like, you get a gold watch when you're 60, 65 or whatever, and to go live in Barbados for a while.
Most definitely. And, you know, I mean, I got my Patreon, and I consider everything I do is funded by that. You know, whether it be these Hangouts, the Skype chats. You know, I got my Create Our Own group on Facebook. You know, I'm like moderator on your group, Kevin, which is D100s on Facebook, and also on the Oddcasters group. You know, it's like I got a bunch of inking gigs now. What I want to do is lessen that to where I'm taking the top dollar one and fit in my create our own stuff and do a lot more. I mean, you know, it's like I would love to open my own studio. So if everybody just throws me $100 a month, I could start building.
Easy peasy.
I have the perfect plan for doing the thing that I want to do. Just give me $100 and I'll tell you how to do the plan.
That's right.
And you can choose to join this plan for just $100.
Yeah, I mean, like the Patreon crowdfunding stuff is pretty interesting now because, of course, you can't. I mean, there's some people who are making their livings off of it, which is incredible. But
They're doing porn.
well, yeah.
Don't give it away. Don't tell everybody.
The secrets.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's a long haul thing.
Yeah.
You got to do a lot of stuff, and and then people are being your patrons, but you got to give them some sort of, you got to give them good value back and stuff. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, at this point in today's world, as an artist, you gotta dip your fingers all over the place. Yeah, you can't just have one. I can't even speak. You can't have just one revenue stream anymore.
Absolutely.
No, you definitely cannot. Now with the patron, isn't there the possible pitfall of doing so much work for those clients that you don't have time to do stuff for yourself, or you're not doing commissions?
Set it up
for
like
them?
that. You could really get back yourself into a corner like that.
It really depends. It really does depend on how you pace it. It's definitely a pacing game. And before I even started this thing, I wanted to speak to as many people about how the whole Patreon thing works as possible. And if you're already working, if you have a bunch of other stuff you're doing, and you want to jump into Patreon, you don't want to do it sight unseen. You want to pace it out, figure out exactly what you think you can do while you're doing all that other stuff. If it's something, and make sure that that's something that you can handle regularly, that you can market to people, and if you set up a system of gifts and prizes, make sure that there's something you can get to them without interfering with everything else. That's the trick.
Yeah, and then, that is, for example, I do sketches for, people at a certain, patron level.
Right.
But I set a limit of 4 because, while it would be nice to make, because I've had people who say that they're interested in that level, and it would be nice to make that money if all those people, but I just don't have time. And then that would just end up bumming people out, and then you'd get a bad name from that, and I don't want that. So, but you got to be really realistic about it, setting your. I think you already said this. I'm probably just saying the same thing in a new way.
No, I mean it never hurts to reinforce it, but
I mean, you got to be realistic and not because I think it's real easy to go into something like that with all intentions of being really awesome to you really appreciate your patrons, of course. So I think it's easy to be like, well, they're so awesome that they did this that I want to do something extra for them, but then it ends up kind of hurting you in the long run, or hurting the brand that you're trying to create or something, because you can't live up to these expectations or something.
Right. Don't make your goals too lofty.
Yeah. So that's why. I mean, if
there's people that set up a Kickstarter, and it's all these bonuses that people get, and meanwhile, you know, the guy that set up the Kickstarter is like minus money because he's making more product than
Right.
just to, you know, get more pledgers.
Yeah.
But he's screwing himself in the end.
Yeah, if you can't live up to that obligation, then all those people that backed you are going to be pissed because they're not going to get what you promised them.
Yeah.
So how's your patron experience been, you guys who are doing it?
This is still my first month, so it's. I mean, I have 5 backers. I'm not making a tremendous amount, but it's the first month. I can't expect that to be the case. People are still probably figuring out who I am and what it is I'm trying to do. So.
Right.
Yeah, but, you know, mine, I want to do a lot more, but it's, I think 95% of my pledgers, and I only have 14, don't want a reward. You know, I think I gave one something because I was like, he was like my first high-paying pledger.
Well, there's things you can do too, like. Oh, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, you know, I made a drawing for him. I didn't give him the art, but it was something he wanted me to do. So
Right.
sent him a high res and everything. And he was like, "This is awesome."
Yeah. Well, what I was going to bring up is like giving your patrons things, you know. Like, so I've got the sketches for a certain group of people, and then another one, and it was probably just as rewarding for me as, you know, maybe the kind of few people who showed up for. I just did a Google Hangout, and you know, people asked me questions about my process, and you know, I guess tips on being an illustrator and things like that, and it's only supposed to go for half an hour to an hour, and we ended up being on there for 3.5 hours.
Wow.
So, you know, that's like, there's like added value, I guess, if people really want to be there. That, you know, that's cool. The other thing is the milestones on the side. You know, you can like, if a certain amount of people are watching your videos, like one of my milestones is like, hey, you know, right now I've got Google AdSense attached to my videos, and you know, if over the course of, you know, this thing, if I get X amount of money, I can't remember what it is offhand, but if I get X amount of money per month, then I'll take those ads away. Or I also worked out where at a certain amount of money, I will be able to send everybody like a button, like a limited edition, you know, like a pin back button of my character, and, you know, just for them, you know. So I'm just wondering if you guys are doing any that kind of stuff or have set up any of that.
Well, I was thinking of doing like a patron, like, sort of vlog or something, like keep them up to date on what I'm working on, like make it for them, not for public. Because I thought about doing like a hangout, but it's like everybody has different schedules, and
You do it at different times.
Yeah, but you know, it's like I only have 14 people.
I'll be right back.
And,
Yay.
okay. We'll miss you. But I don't know. I was seriously thinking just I'll do a video exclusively for them rather than a hangout. I mean, if they want to ask me questions, I can answer in the video and stuff like that.
I mean, you can do that in the blog too, because I think, you know, like my you know, it starts at $1, right? So the dollar patrons can see the blog section that no one else does. You know, the public doesn't, and so I try to put stuff up as soon as I make it there, you know, or as soon as it's relevant or something that other people won't see. Like, like the pages I'm doing for my comic, Monkey Mod and Friends Show. You know, patrons get to read the comic as I'm drawing it. You know, before it's finished, before it's inked, before it's colored, because I'm lettering at the pencil stage. You know, so there's stuff like that.
Well, I am going to be doing an exclusive patron comic book. What's up right now is just a small batch of character designs, but I want to do a sort of anime, manga, heavy metal-ish kind of inspired comic book of my own that only people on Patreon will see it.
Yeah. Hey, besides going to patreon.com/Kevin Cross, what are your guys' Patreon?
Mine's Palmiotti.
My Patreon is patreon.com/Acromat666. It's the one with the weird name. You won't be able to miss it.
I'll look for it here.
Essentially, you know, if you go to my YouTube channel, which should be at, I have a lot of my links there, Patreon below.
Yep, mine is on my YouTube and on my Facebooks.
I don't have one.
Yeah, I don't have one either. Not yet.
I'm without.
We don't think less of you.
Oh,
I think Eric, I think you could probably do pretty well on Patreon if you're able to support yourself with, just basically commissions and stuff.
that's what I'm wondering. I'd definitely like to look into it or, learn more about it. I don't know that much about it.
Are you still
Yeah, I
doing
think
the Picardo thing?
Yeah, I stream on there a lot.
Oh, man, I forgot about Picardo. How's that working out for you?
It's good. Like, live stream was always giving me problems, livestream.com, so and they only hold the video for like 30 days, and they want an arm and a leg for you to actually subscribe to it, and it just, wasn't dependable enough for me to really invest in that, so Picardo, I can honestly say, works 99% of the time, and I like it. And if you
like a good audience over there and stuff?
Yeah, people go there to look at art. It's mainly an art site, so
Right.
that's a bonus. Plus, I don't worry about, like, live stream would only keep your video so you could rewatch it for 30 days. Well, I just use the program and record it and put it on YouTube, so it's up there as long as I want.
Oh, yeah.
So that's nice, and I recommend it. I like it. It's really light, and it's really easy to use compared to, like, Twitch, which is just always seems heavy and glitchy to me. And this Google video technology seems pretty good. If there was a way to use that to do it, but just live stream with Google Hangouts or something. But no, I like it.
Yeah, that's something I want to check out eventually when this book is done or something.
Yeah, I also hear about like Periscope and Meerkat and all those. And...
Yeah, there's so many.
What is it? Marshall uses
He uses
Meerkat.
Yeah. Yeah, I might have to look into those.
That's fairly new. Isn't that fairly new?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm back.
Yay!
I gotta take off.
I hear a lot of people, like, in the comic industry using Periscope, though. I think Dan Pinozier is somehow tied to it or something other.
What is
maybe
it?
he's a partner. Periscope?
Oh, okay.
you know, like in a submarine.
You got jokes. Nice.
So I'm thinking I won't go tremendously long tonight because I started horribly late. And I'm probably going to be working all night.
Okay.
Anybody who wants to like join me for a Skype chat, can, you know, I'll probably start in an hour. I'll probably go grab something to eat after this. But if there's anything at all, like each of you want to cover or do shout-outs or, you know, tell your cat hello or whatever, now's the time.
The picture that I'm working on right now, I will probably be doing as a process video for both YouTube and for my Patreon. It's going to be Koba from Planet of the Apes. Because my current theme is villains. So yeah, give that a look when it comes up and buy my stuff. Yeah, there you go. Great.
You can find all the stuff that I'm working on, I'm going to work on, or I promise, on my website called the 8spot, the8spot.com. So, and then that links to everything, my Twitters, my Facebook. I make it fairly easy for people to find me as much as possible. The page I'm working on is for Team Kaiju #2, my Monsters versus Robots comic book that I work on, or actually they're cyborgs versus monsters. Issue 1 is available on Comixology, as well as a bunch of our first issues from Section 8 Comics, which is where the 8 spot will take you to. So once you go there, you can just pretty much find everything I'm working on.
Sweet.
Cool. Mike said, Space Cat says hi.
Every time I hear those two words together, I hear him going, meow, 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 meow.
Yeah, Mike does fun videos. Go check it out. Yeah, and I've been swamped with inking work. It's sort of that, you don't want dry spells, but I definitely overbooked and paying the dues now. But it will all work out in the end, and I'll be able to catch up on bills and actually be able to take a day off or two.
Day off.
Not go on vacation, but just take some time off.
People still do that?
Vacation.
Nah, vacation is crazy talk. Let's just focus on that day off thing.
One thing at a time. Baby steps.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, if that's it for everybody, I'm just going to call it a night, and this has been Studio Synergy 23, Peter Palmiotti of UNOT Studios. Come by every week. I'll be doing this weekly. There's the Studio Synergy playlist for past episodes. Please go check out each and every one, and I'll see you again next week with another band of different folks. Take care, everyone.
See you later.
Goodbye.